Louisiana homeowners began applying for state grants today to make their roofs stronger against hurricanes.
As Sabrina Wilson reports, the Home Builders Association says the new building code and fortified roofs require watertight roof decks before shingles go on.
Homeowners have begun applying for state grants to harden their roofs against hurricanes.
And just like everyone else that was thrown into Citizens like me, I was on there doing my own application.
According to the Louisiana Department of Insurance, 500 grants are available in the first round, and the first people who can apply are those with homeowners coverage through Louisiana Citizens. The state is providing grants of up to $10,000 to repair or replace roofs to the fortified roof standard, a standard from the Insurance Institute of Business and Home Safety. In all, the program has funds to award about 3,000 grants. Dan Mills is CEO of the Home Builders Association of Greater New Orleans.
The subsidy for this grant won't be enough to cover most home roof replacements today. So, you can expect that fortified roof grant may cover about half on, say, a 2,500 square foot home. So, and it would be a single story.
Here are some of the criteria. Only primary residences are eligible for the grants, and a homestead exemption must be verified. Homeowners must provide proof of insurance with wind coverage. New construction doesn't qualify. Homes on certain foundations are not eligible without an approved retrofit of the foundation. Duplexes are eligible if it's the homeowner's primary residence. Homes must be in good repair as determined by a fortified evaluator. Homeowners who select a contractor and begin work before receiving approval will not be eligible for a grant, and the completed project must meet the fortified roof standard to receive the grant.
The important thing to note is that the way this program works, the money will not flow through to the homeowner. The money will go directly to the contractor. So if you are accepted into the program, you will receive communication from the Department of Insurance saying that you are accepted, and here are a list of eligible inspectors who can come and do an evaluation on your home to make sure that your roof can be fortified.
Homeowners pay for the evaluators.
Once you get that, which costs about $300 to $500, then your application can move forward.
State Representative Matthew Willard authored a new law that requires insurers to provide discounts to homeowners with fortified roofs.
Insurance companies will have to provide an actuarially justified discount for a fortified roof.
I asked Mills if Louisiana has enough approved contractors.
I think it is a good start.
And Representative Willard urges homeowners to know the process so they won't be taken by scams.
This is obviously, during times like this, an opportunity for scammers to prey on people.
So Willard says, do not do business with anybody who calls you and says they received money to put on a fortified roof on your home. He says all communication will come from the Louisiana Department of Insurance. Now, the Home Builders Association is hosting a free homeowners seminar later this month. We'll put that information on fox8live.com.